this story is about a house that doesn't really have, that I could find, an official nickname to it like some of the others I've talked about. We'll call it for now the Roosevelt House for a reason that you'll become obvious in a minute. You can see from the portion of the 1915 bird's eye view map, which actually Bradway had painted to show off where his subdivision fit into the area. You can see how empty it was of any. It had been a farm for many, many, many years. It had been the Cooper farm, and after that, for a short time, was a dairy, the Walker Dairy farm. One of the first houses built is the house I'm featuring in this talk, and it was built in 1917, an English Tudor house, as you can see from the pictures of the various elevations shots that I put in there of its current look. The architect was quite famous in the area, Marcus Burroughs. Burroughs is known for doing the Greek Theater in Cranbrook. He did the Birmingham City Hall. He was the architect for the Baldwin Library, the original Baldwin Library. I believe it's possible that Judson Bradway himself and his wife Florence actually lived in the house in its few earliest years. Judson featured it in his 1927 driving map of the Bloomfield area. You can see in this image of it alongside its current view how it hasn't changed at all since the 1927 little picture he put in his driving map. One of the real interesting features in the house is a painting, a watercolor painting of a landscape plan that was drawn up in 1924 for Bradway. It was actually, the inscription says it was done for Judson Bradway. It was done to landscape 8 acres of land which the house originally stood on. The house is located on the edge of what we used to be the commuter parking lot for the Grand Trunk Western Railroad. When the railroad was relocated in 1930 to its present site along the western edge of Kensington, it cut the property size down to 4 acres for this house, not the original 8 acres. Reason I call it the Roosevelt House is probably the most prominent resident of the house lived there from 1935 to 1941, and her name was Dorothy Kemp Roosevelt. Dorothy was the wife of G. Hall Roosevelt, the brother of Eleanor Roosevelt, which made him, I believe if I've got it right, a cousin and also brother-in-law to President Franklin Roosevelt. Dorothy was a collateral descendant of the original R.L. Polk, who did the Polk directories, and she was descended from a sister of R.L. Polk II. And she married G. Hall Roosevelt when he came to this area to help with the relocation, if you will, of the Grand Trunk Western Railroad. He worked for the railroad at the time. Dorothy was a well-known concert pianist, and she put on many recitals both in this house and the several other houses that she lived in the Birmingham, Bloomfield area after the house. Dorothy and her 3 daughters lived in this house for 1935 to 1941. There's a photograph included that you'll see of Dorothy with her 3 daughters at an older age, not the age they were when they lived here. But Janet, the youngest, is on the right-hand side of the picture, and Larry and I, my friend Larry Trinkus and I, were fortunate enough to be able to contact Janet. She's out in California, and she sent us many, many fond memories of living and growing up and playing around in this Charing Cross, Kensington area. There's an in the aerial photograph you see, 1940 aerial photograph, which was taken at the time that the Roosevelts were living there. You can see how little development there was between their house in the lower part of the picture and her best friend's house up on the corner of Waddles and Charing Cross. One of the interesting things she recalled was when Wendell Willkie, presidential opponent of Franklin Roosevelt in 1940, stopped briefly at that commuter station in the middle of the night and made a speech from the platform of his campaign train. And the neighbors had rushed out to get an eye at the at the Franklin's opponent, but as you all know, Franklin won that race again. The longest term owners were the Barkers, Dr. Charles and Nancy Barker. Nancy Barker was one of my most prolific providers of information about history of the area. She loved the history of the area. They lived there 60 years. They bought the house in 1958, and it was just sold last year. The new owner has apparently decided they're going to demolish it and build a replacement on that nice 4-acre piece of property. Fortunately, though, we have materials in our archives. We have the digitized image of the planting plan, the landscape plan, and the 7 pages of Marcus Burroughs' floor plans and elevation drawings of the house. They have all been digitized and are available in our website and in our archives.